Hey everybody, it's Nicole LeBlanc with Mon Voyage coming to you from Dallas, Texas. For those of you who don't know me, I have a small travel business. I am a travel advisor who specializes in what we call FIT travel, which is a fully independent tour or foreign independent tour. It kind of depends on who you ask, but it basically means someone who's traveling independently, not as part of a tour group. I do also offer small group travel that I lead several times a year, maximum of 12 people. But I put all of that together myself, also sort of like a small group FIT trip. So Mon Voyage specializes in custom itinerary planning. We are not going to push you into a package that has, what everybody thinks you should do, because maybe you don't want to do all of those things. Maybe you have a particular interest you'd like to explore. Well, we will help you do that. People have been asking me lately a lot about travel planning for next year. Some folks are ready to travel now, some folks are ready to travel next year, but it really is time to start thinking about that at this point because we have some optimistic um, things coming on the horizon and we want to take advantage of those things. But what do you need to know about travel right now? Well, the first thing you need to know is that most of our suppliers are offering a little more flexibility than they may have in the past. However, with the kind of travel that we plan at Mon Voyage, you are going to be working with me to put together your own special personalized package. And each element of that package is going to have a different policy. So, for example, your plane ticket. What fare class is your plane ticket in? What are the options for cancellation and rebooking or standby in your fare class? These are things that you're going to want to know because while airlines have opened up their policies lately, each airline can be different with the nitty gritty details. What about your hotels? Well, if I'm planning a 2 or 3 week trip for you to Europe, you might be staying in 4 or 5, 6 different hotels in different destinations along the way. So each hotel is going to have its own terms and conditions. A deposit may or may not be required. That deposit may or may not be refundable. Maybe if it's not refundable, you could postpone your travel to a later date if necessary. But again, each hotel is going to have its own policy that I will help you understand as we plan the trip. And you may take those policies into account as you choose which hotels you want to use for the trip. Your ground transportation, your transfers, your trains, each one of those is going to have a different policy in terms of what it's going to cost, what your options are in terms of rescheduling or canceling or postponing, and how much you have to pay in advance, how much you have to pay at what point later. For example, another big difference might be, let's say, your family or your group of friends who like to charter a private barge in the south of France or the Netherlands. Well, that private barge charter is going to have a very different policy than a large cruise ship. The policy on a barge charter is probably going to be stricter than a large cruise ship might be. But under the circumstances, everyone is trying to be more flexible, and I can help you understand the policies of each barge you might be considering for your family trip, or your friends doing a wine trip in Bordeaux, for example. We also plan all of your tours that you might want to take. Maybe this is a private tour. Each individual guide will have his or her own policy about reservations. We may be required to place a deposit for that date, or we may just be required to hold a date in good faith. It depends entirely on the guide. And again, we can compare the policies from different guides and see what feels most comfortable for you as we plan. And again, a small group or a large tour may have a different policy than an individual guide who's carving out that times only for you. You're going to have different policies even at restaurants, for example. If we want to make restaurant reservations for you, Maybe it's just a nice dinner out one night. It has a normal reservation policy we make on the internet through Open Table, or if we're in France, La Fourchette, or something like that. Maybe we can just cancel it if we don't want to go. Well, what if it's a Michelin star restaurant? Frequently, if we're making a reservation for you at a Michelin starred restaurant, this is going to require full prepayment for your selection of a prefix dinner that the restaurant offers. Sometimes it's refundable, sometimes it's exchangeable for a different date. Again, the fine print of each restaurant is going to be different, and I can help you work your way around understanding what may be the best option for you in planning for your trip. Does this sound like a lot to worry about? It is a lot to worry about, but that's why I'm here. I am here to worry about that for you. A travel advisor can take all of the uneasiness out of making these decisions and offer you the options that you need to consider, and you can decide what works best for you and be sure that you are making a trip with terms and conditions that make you comfortable. So I am that freak who likes to study train schedules, do these complex travel 3D jigsaw puzzles. I just thrive on that. And if that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, I am here for you. I am here to plan a trip around your travel style, your interests, and your budget. And my last thing I want to mention about planning for travel at this point is that some of the destinations that I've been looking at for next spring and summer and fall are actually starting to get kind of booked up. So it's wise to plan ahead, just as it is always wise to plan ahead, because when the trigger is pulled and people are able to travel again, there is going to be a mad rush, and you want to have your choices secured before everybody else tries to jump on that train with you. Have a great night. If there's any questions you have about planning your trip, or if you'd like assistance planning your trip, please just feel free to contact me at monvoyagetravel.com, and I look forward to traveling with you in the future. Bye-bye.